Daniel Price was not a ghost hunter. He was a real estate photographer, broke, overworked and desperate for clients. So when a mysterious woman named Mrs. Alden emailed him about photographing an old property she wanted to sell, he agreed instantly. The house sat on the edge of town, deep in a quiet neighborhood where the streetlights flickered even during the day. Daniel arrived just before sunset, his camera bag slung over his shoulder, expecting another dusty, boring building. But the moment he stepped out of his car, he noticed something strange. The house looked like it was waiting for him. It stood too still, too silent, as if holding its breath. Its roof was sagging, its windows dark, and its front door leaned slightly open, as though it already knew he was coming. Rip! Daniel shook off the shiver crawling up his spine. Work was work. Inside, the air smelled like wet wood and old secrets. The house felt heavy, almost aware. He began shooting photos, room by room. Most were empty, peeling lifeless. But every time he glanced at the tiny preview screen on his camera, he paused. The rooms in the photos looked different from the rooms he had just seen. A photo of the living room showed a door behind the couch, but when Daniel looked up, there was no door. A photo of the kitchen showed 2 windows, but the real kitchen only had 1. He frowned. Maybe he had accidentally used an old setting. HDR glitch? Camera rendering error? He reset his camera and kept shooting, but the photos kept changing. A hallway showed a staircase that didn't exist. A bedroom showed shadows of people standing in the corner. Though the room was completely empty, his heartbeat picked up. He snapped a picture of the front door. In the photo, the door was closed, but it was wide open in real life. Daniel decided he had enough. He packed up quickly, stepping out into the cold air with relief. As he reached his car door, he saw her, Mrs. Alden, standing on the sidewalk, watching him silently. Her white hair was pinned neatly. Her eyes were sharp and knowing. "You went inside," she said softly. Daniel swallowed. "Yes, you asked me to, didn't you?" She shook her head slowly. "No, I asked you to photograph it from the outside." Her voice tightened. "You shouldn't have gone in. The housey doesn't like being seen from the inside." "Rip?" Daniel stared at her in confusion. Before he could question her, she turned and walked away. The next day, Daniel uploaded the photos to his computer. His hand froze on the mouse. The house in the photos was not in the same neighborhood anymore. The backgrounds had changed instead of quiet suburb houses. He now saw buildings from different parts of the city, places he recognized, as though the house was moving, shifting locations in every shot. He checked the metadata. Each photo location tag showed a different address. His stomach twisted. Every time he took a photo, the house was standing somewhere else. He zoomed into the last picture, the front door. Someone was standing in it, a tall, thin silhouette smiling. Daniel jerked back from the screen. He called Mrs. Alden immediately. "We need to talk," he said, shaky. They met at a coffee shop. She looked exhausted, her hands trembling as she stirred her tea. "It's not a house," she whispered. "Not anymore. It's a shell for something that moves. Something that chooses people." Daniel leaned in. "Or it chooses?" She nodded. "It shows itself only to the person it wants. And once you enter it follows you. Slowly, patiently." She stared into his eyes. "And it always wants you to come back inside." Rip. Daniel felt the blood drain from his face. He had gone inside. "Can I stop it?" he asked. Mrs. Alden didn't answer. Her eyes filled with regret. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I thought I could pass it on to someone else. I thought I could be free." Daniel froze. "You wanted me to see it." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "It won't stop until you enter it again. You belong to it now, nights of terror." The following nights were hell. Daniel began seeing the house. Not in full, just pieces. A window reflection on a street where no house existed. A shadow of a roofline behind his apartment building. A door shape standing at the end of a hallway where it shouldn't be. At first he thought he was imagining it, but he heard footsteps in his apartment at night, slow, heavy, like someone walking, through a house that wasn't his. One night he woke to the sound of a door creaking open inside his living room. He lived alone. With shaking hands, he picked up his camera and snapped a photo in the darkness. The preview showed his living room, and behind his couch, the same door he had seen in the house's photo. The door slowly opened wider in the photo as he watched. He dropped the camera and ran. Riptide, the final trip. Terrified, Daniel decided to confront it. He returned to the place where the house originally stood. But the lot was empty. Completely empty. Just a field of dead grass. Behind him, something creaked. He spun around. The house was standing across the street, silent, still, watching him. Its door opened as he stared, like a mouth inviting him in. Daniel backed away, but the ground behind him shifted. He turned. Another door stood behind him. A door that hadn't been there a second ago. The house had surrounded him. No matter where he looked, a door awaited. He took a trembling breath and stepped toward the original front door. Inside, everything was different. The walls breathed softly. Rooms stretched and twisted like living flesh. The house closed behind him. It had taken him back, and this time, it wasn't letting go. The twist ending. Riptide. Days later, neighbors reported something strange. Daniel's entire house, his home, had disappeared, gone without a trace. In its place now stood the old abandoned house, identical, silent, watching the street. Inside the front window, a figure stood. Tall, still, smiling. It was Daniel, but his eyes were hollow, just like the house that had taken him. And at night, rooms inside the structure shifted, as though something was moving around, testing the walls, preparing, waiting for its next visitor.